It's great to see such a diverse set of people from across the globe joining us today. I think we're at time and we'll get started with today's session. Welcome, everyone, to our live demo on writing smarter with AI using PayPal's writing ecosystem. In today's session, we'll unpack the completely new and upgraded experience on PayPal for Web. We'll also focus on how you can maximize your productivity by leveraging PayPal's extensive suite of extensions and apps. And as always, we look forward to your comments and feedback so we can continue to build up PayPal as the product of choice for academics. So let's get started with introductions. I'm Nolita Coelho, your host for today, and I head up the product division at PaperPal. And joining me from the product team as main presenter is Shardul Nair. He's our resident AI wizard, comes with a background in reproductive biology, cancer biology research, and has been an academic editor for over 5 years. Today, he'll take you through all the practical tips and tricks to get the most out of PaperPal. But before I hand over to him, there are a few things I'd like to cover, for which I'd request if you can move your attention to the presentation on screen. Okay, there you go. So here's a quick sort of checklist on how you can engage with today's session. You can keep your comments and feedback flowing via chat in the chat window on the right of your screen. If you have specific questions you would want to be answered and addressed as part of our Q&A segment later, then make sure to drop it in the question section of the side panel. You'll see a little Q icon, just drop it in there. During the demonstration, you might find it useful to zoom in and watch in full screen, and consider using headphones for the best audio experience. Lastly, don't worry about notes or screenshots, or if you miss something, you'll receive a full recording of the session along with some goodies so that you can go back and try it out yourself later. With that, let's dive into a quick introduction for PaperPal. Since many of you who are joining us today are new to PaperPal, take a few minutes to cover that for them. So PaperPal started off mainly as a tool that helped authors polish their draft paper, essay, or manuscript. Its biggest strength lies in the ability to understand academic context, technical terms, writing styles, and this is across 1,300 fields of study. Now, how did we achieve this? PaperPal is born out of Editage, which is our parent company where expert human editors like Shardul have been improving research manuscripts and technical content for over 22 years. Now, we combine this 22 years of human editing expertise with advanced machine learning to create a best in class AI editing tool. Now, this technology doesn't just power PaperPal, but it also powers PaperPal's pre flight submission checks that you may have encountered in the journal submission workflow of leading journals. We work with over 500 leading journals worldwide. Now, we didn't stop there because our vision at PaperPal was much bigger. So, our mission is to help every individual that sits down to write daily for those 30 to 60 minutes, irrespective of whether English is their first language or not, to have the most productive writing experience. And not just that, but how can writing be something you enjoy and look forward to rather than dread? So, over the last year, we've really transformed PaperPal from merely a polishing tool, really just focusing on editing, AI reviews, and things like that, to one that can assist with the entire spectrum of your writing. So it can help you with inspiring your writing, the actual process of constructing your draft, right up to the finish line and even beyond. But a big part of our mission is not just the features, but really making AI truly accessible and usable for our end user so that the writing process is more productive and enjoyable. And at this point, I'd like to post a quick poll to our audience to really understand what has been your experience if you've been using tools like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. So if I can request Anushree to quickly, kind of push the first poll out. Okay, there we have it. So what we'd like to know is what has been your experience if you've used any of these tools. Okay, and great. I think, oh, this is amazing. Think it's great to see that we have such an active audience out there who looks forward to writing all those prompts. Awesome. Okay, I think we have our inputs coming in. So as we see predominantly, we actually find a lot of people finding AI useful. And what we see is, there are some hassles or disruption that do come into the workflow when it comes into using some of these, foundational models in the way they're currently set up. So I'll just quickly move back to the presentation. And what did we really see when we, study the experiences of people, on the ground really using these tools? Number one, AI tools have become one more application or window or tab in the writing process. Now, if you were already switching between a reference manager, a document, PDFs, and your notes, you now have another window like ChatGPT, and very often that's sometimes disrupting the workflow rather than helping. The second problem that we've identified with the experience part of it is, and this really takes me back to the days when I first started learning computers at school, where we worked off a command line interface and typically had to type out several sort of commands or prompts just to open a file. And then very quickly, when we were in school, we discovered the magic of a graphical user interface. You just had to take the mouse, point to a folder, and voila, the file was open. Now, in both these scenarios, the underlying technology was the same, but the experience of the graphical user interface made computers more accessible to a wider audience, speeding up adoption and productivity. So, what Shardul will really demonstrate today is how PaperPal's experience reduces the need to really switch between multiple tools and really not needing the use, having the need to draft out lengthy prompts. He'll take you through how the design of PaperPal helps you use AI more responsibly as that buddy who really supports you but doesn't take over your voice or your process. With the upgraded web experience, you'll see how you can write on PaperPal with inline AI commands, with keyboard shortcuts, and really get into the flow, and something that was missing earlier. Finally, he'll show you how you can leverage PaperPal's extensions so that you can continue to use the benefits of AI, no matter what stage you're at or what application you're really comfortable writing with. So, with that, I'll hand over to you, Shardul, to take it over. Thanks.
Thank you, Nolita. Thank you so much. And let me quickly share my screen. Please do let me know when everyone can see my screen and if my audio is loud and clear.
Yep, you're good.
Awesome, awesome. So, hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Shardul from the Paperpal team. And while Nolita has provided a very good overview of what Paperpal is, what Paperpal can do, and how Paperpal can support you, so I essentially resonate with that because Paperpal is like a complete holistic ecosystem or toolkit which contains features and solutions that can help you at each and every stage of your writing and research process. Irrespective of whether you are somebody who is just starting your writing, let's say facing a blank page, maybe you have some notes and references, but you're not very sure how to translate those notes and references onto the document in the form of words, coherent words. Or if you're somebody who has written something but needs support on how to expand it further, how to complete your narration, how to complete your story, or if you're somebody who comes maybe at the stage where the writing bit is done and maybe you're a couple of steps away from journal publication or journal submission. So Paperpal has solutions. Paperpal offers you support at each and every step of this particular writing journey. And needless to say that Paperpal is also available at different platforms. So you can use Paperpal where you are writing. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So once you log into Paperpal and open a new document, this is how it would look like. And for the uninitiated, let's say, once you log in, this is how your home screen will look like. And I can go ahead and create a new web document by clicking on Create New Web Document. And the blank page will open up over here. And you will see that more often than not, every time we encounter a blank page, we are suddenly not sure how to exactly translate all those ideas from our notes, from our thoughts, from those references into the blank slate, right? So, which is why PaperPal provides support at this stage of the journey as well. For example, if you are just beginning your writing and the only thing you have with you is maybe a title or maybe an idea, so how do you expand that title? How do you expand upon that idea, build an outline, a skeleton, improve and add more content onto that outline and flesh it out into a full paper? PaperPal can help you, and let me show you how. So you can use the Write with AI feature or the Brainstorm Ideas feature to actually brainstorm with the AI to get some inspiration, get an idea of what is it that you want to write. For example, if I use Write with AI, I can simply go ahead and say I'm writing an essay, suppose, on climate change and mental health. What are the points that I should mention? Give me as a numbered list, because this is the format that I'm most comfortable with. So at this in this particular stage of my journey, I'm using the AI as a brainstorming partner, as a buddy who can help me, let's say, narrow down my focus on what my topic should be, what are the content that I should write. So you see, this is the best way to use AI effectively, because if you use, let's say, an AI to write the entire paper for you, there are of course this thoughts, these questions that okay, it might dull your critical thinking. The AI is literally doing your job for you. There could be repercussions down the line. But here, I'm using AI responsibly. I'm asking it to give me some ideas, use it as a brainstorming partner instead of asking it to write the entire paper for me. So I read it. I can now insert this particular content over here. So now I began with a topic. Now I have a list of, let's say, around 20 different points that I can write about my topic in this particular paper. Now, once I read through it, once I get a sense of what my topic might look like, if I expand upon this, I can delete the contents that I do not feel relevant to my essay, to my paper that I'm writing, and retain the ones that I find useful. For example, if you want the AI to maybe expand on each and every one of this point, you can now do that directly. For example, initially you would have had to maybe select the text, open up the sidebar, go to a particular feature, but all of that has been mitigated. Things have been made much simpler, much easier, and the AI commands are there right at your fingertip. What do I mean by that? For example, if you want to use AI to ask a new question, for example, I can simply press the backslash command, which activates the AI commands, and I have all the features inside PaperPal present here right in my screen without even having to navigate onto the sidebar on the right. You can activate it by pressing this backslash command, or alternately, you can just press Control J, which does the same thing. So once I have the AI ready in front of me, once I have activated it, I can ask my questions over here. So once I've asked my question, once I get some content, if I want the AI to maybe help me a little bit more, give me more pointers on each of this. For example, I find the first point interesting, but I want to know what exactly is it that I should actually add into this point, because I only have the topic. I don't know much about it. Maybe I have not done my research on this topic. I don't know what are the main points that I should be including over here. So again, very simple. I just select this particular text. You will now see that the inline AI commands are provided with the new interface, which was previously missing. So now I can just select a particular text. I can click on PaperPal AI. So now the context becomes the text that I have selected on my screen. So now I can ask the AI something like, okay, tell me what points I can include on this. All right. Very generic question. So, depending upon your requirement, your specificity, your expertise, you can ask it complicated questions, and the AI will, in all likelihood, handle it very well like a champ. So, here you see the AI gives me a lot of pointers over here, and I think that, okay, this is useful. Maybe I'll add it down into my topic. So, maybe I'll just copy it quickly. I'll move it over here and I'll paste it over here. So occasionally, if you get, let's say, an output which looks pretty much like a paragraph instead of pointers, maybe in your instruction, like I did earlier, you just specify that give me the output as a listicle or maybe under bullet points or whatever preferred mode that you would want the answer to be in. So here the AI has given me a couple of pointers. All right, these look good. So as a responsible, let's say, user of AI, as a student, as a researcher, I don't take the AI outputs at face value. I will always read it. I will make sure that I will read it, remove the things that I don't find of value in my writing. I delete those. I retain only the ones that I actually want to add upon. So here, just to do a very quick rewind, I began with a topic in a blank page. I did not have any references, I did not have any notes. I asked the AI to tell me what exactly I can write on that topic. The AI gave me an initial list of suggestions. Then I asked the AI again to give me more pointers on that. Now, of course, depending upon your use, your proficiency, you can ask the AI both these questions at the same time as well. So the AI will give you one level of pointers or bullet points, and then also give you subheadings under each of those bullet points. So anything is possible depending upon your requirement. So here you see the AI has given me a lot of content. Alternatively, if you are somebody who is coming to PaperPal, if you are beginning your writing process, but you have already done some reading, you have some notes, maybe you have a literature matrix, which could be an Excel sheet with each column containing very specific information sourced from different papers. Or if you have handwritten notes, you take a screenshot, you take an image of that handwritten note, right? Or if you have a chart or an infographic, you can use all of that as the starting point in your writing process. And it is recommended that you do that, because then what happens is you are guiding the AI to give the output that you want instead of taking whatever the AI gives you directly. So I can just activate the right AI command just by pressing the backslash on the PaperPal document or press Control J. Once I have this, I can go ahead and add my attachments. As I said, it could be a PDF, docx, a CSV, Excel, or even an image. Could be a handwritten notes, which could be used as the source. So once I have that, I can either use, let's say, anything like extract key takeaways or ask very specific questions that I want to the AI, so that it can give me an output that is tailored and personalized based on my requirement. So that's how you can effectively drive the AI to give what you want instead of taking anything it gives at face value. So once, let's say, that is done, you have a rough skeleton ready with you. Now let's say I want to expand upon each of these things. Now I'm somebody who does not have any references, so I want to expand upon this. So how can PaperPal help me do it? The conventional way would be, now I have these topics, I take these keywords, I might go to a database, I might go to Google Scholar, find some papers, I'll get a long list of papers based on keyword matches. Then I match all of those, I read one by one, consume all of that literature, then decide whether or not I want the particular paper to be included, not included. But with PaperPal, all of those processes can be hastened, can be speed up. What do I mean by that? With PaperPal, you have the ability to ask a research question. And let me show you what I mean. So again, I will add a new line. I will press the backslash command. If I scroll down a little bit, you will see the research and cite, or let's say very specific commands like ask a research question. So when you click on ask a research question, so you will be taken to the research and cite feature in PaperPal. So up until this point, I did not want the sidebar to be open, so I closed it. Now, if I want to manually open it, let's say I either activate it from the inline commands, or I can click on this particular button, expand the sidebar, because now I want to refer and chat with the AI inside research and cite, ask it questions, extract insights, and put that into my document. So if the screen feels small, if this feels like a very congested area, I can even go ahead and expand it even more so that now I have a good reading view over here. So here I can ask all my questions. The research and cite feature, that's powered by a sister product called as R Discovery. Think of it like a giant corpus with 250 million papers. And every time you ask a question to the research feature in your natural language, it will understand the context of your question. It will go through these 250 million papers, identify what are the top papers that contains the answer to your question, and then generate a response that provides those papers as citations. For example, it read through the entire paper, gives me, let's say, a summary response containing from the top 5 most relevant papers. Now, these are actual published papers. Unlike ChatGPT, Perplexity, or any other AI tool that are there these days with web search, this does not include a random blog article or, let's say, an unverified reference. So, all of those issues are not encountered when you ask a question inside research. These are backed by references, backed by academic publications only. So, here I can either scroll down, read through the response, and then you will see there are some related questions that you can ask as a follow up. And when I scroll down, I will see the top 5 papers that were used in creating that particular response. If I scroll down a little bit more, I will see the next 5 related papers. So every time you ask a question, you get a response from top 10 papers always. And if you want more papers, Because if 10 papers are quite limiting, if it is not representative of the entire corpus of literature, if you want a more holistic view of the literature, I can scroll down all the way and then I can click on load more papers, in which case 10 more relevant papers will be loaded for you. So that is how you can expand upon that reading list by clicking on load more papers, and a maximum of 50 most relevant papers will be retrieved for you. Now, these are actual published papers, so you can read them. For example, I can click on the citation, let's say Walensky. It takes me to that particular reference card. I can click on it. I can read it. I can understand the abstract over here. I can then maybe click on read more, in which case you will be redirected to another website where if the paper is open source and freely available, you can read it or use your university credentials to read the paper if it is behind the paywall. And then I can either add it to my library if I want to come back to it at a later point of time, or if I read it, I consume it, and I find that okay, this paper is useful for me, I can add it to my library and that I can cite it in the text that I'm actually writing. So once again, quickly doing a very short recap, what did we do? We began with a blank page. We had only a topic with us, nothing else. We expanded upon that topic using AI as our buddy. We expanded upon that topic, found out what we want to write, what we could write, and then we expanded a little bit more to get a more nuanced understanding of what are the things that I can include on that topic. Then, if I don't have any references, I come to research insight. I can ask pointed questions. For example, what is the prevalence of eco anxiety? If I want to know about some research in a particular country, get some statistics, human studies, animal studies, all of that I can ask over here. When I ask my question, I get a response. And along with that response, I get proper citations of academic papers. Now, at this stage, we can do a little bit more deep dive. So, at this stage, Paperpal has helped you write, Paperpal has helped you research. Paperpal also goes one step further and helps you consume the research, understand that research even better. So, you will see that in some of these papers, you have upload PDF, which is provided. So, this is because this particular PDF was not freely available, maybe because it was open source but did not have a CC BY license, or maybe because the paper was closed source. If you have the PDF, you can upload that PDF and then use the chat PDF functionality, which is provided inside Paperpal, to read that paper, extract insights from that paper, and do more deeper research and reading. If I scroll down, you will see that there are some references which has the chat button over here. This means that these papers are open access and freely available for commercial use. In which case, I can simply click on chat, where you will be taken to the chat PDF feature. You can either activate chat PDF this way, or alternatively, you can click on the chat PDF functionality, the specific button present over here in the right sidebar. So what is chat PDF? Essentially like what it sounds. So you have your PDF, you want to use an AI to chat with it, to extract deeper insights, to ask questions, to, let's say, form a useful opinion about this particular paper, I can use chat PDF. If I want a summary, I can use summary. If I want to find related papers on this topic or on this particular paper, I can click on related papers. So here the AI will read the entire paper that you have provided. You can ask complicated questions like this. What are the main arguments in the study? So answers to those questions like that are not readily available in any one section of the paper. So what happens is the AI reads the paper deeply, understands the entire context, and then provides you with a holistic response to that particular question. And here you will see that the response is being generated. And the response is generated, but the AI is still writing. What does this mean? This means that the AI is trying to find those snippets of text from the PDF to support the statement that it has provided in this particular response. So you will see here that, okay, the response is complete. And I have some numbers, right? Like in text citations. When I click on them, I am taken to the specific location in the PDF from which that information was sourced, from where the AI used that information and then derived a particular conclusion. So as you can see, it reads through the entire paper. If the answer to that particular question is scattered across the paper, it will read through the entire paper, extract that information, form an opinion, and then give you that response. This is how you use the chat PDF functionality from inside research or directly to consume literature faster, find papers, consume literature faster, extract useful insights, and then add it to your content going forward. So that's the chat PDF functionality right there for you. So assuming that, okay, I have done all my reading and I've done all my writing, maybe you're somebody who comes to Paperpal, or you are at a stage where you have some content already written and you want Paperpal to assist you further in expanding upon this content. For example, I have an introduction section written, and maybe I want help with methods, or let's say help with conclusions. So Paperpal can provide you with that support as well in your writing process. So when you're writing, all right, I'm writing, so I need that focused attention. I want to be in that flow where I'm only focused on my text. Nothing has to be distracting me. I can close this. I can only use the AI inline commands and help and ask specific questions, maybe translate those text and then get those insights. For example, if I want to translate my text, I can simply select this particular text, click on Paperpal AI, and then go to translate. Then I can translate that particular text. If I want to ask a particular question about this text, I can do that with AI. Alternatively, if I want to find, let's say, a connecting sentence for two paragraphs, because I have written this text, I'm reading it, but I find that, okay, maybe the flow is not very well. So even in that case, I can simply select these two paragraphs, for example, like this. I can click on Paperpal AI and then give command something like, all right, give me 5 connecting statements for better flow, right? Something like this. So AI will read the two paragraphs that it has provided and provide you with 5 connecting sentences. Now you can copy it, paste it, then read, take a call on whether that particular information that it provided, that connecting sentence, whether it helps you read the particular text with better flow, with better fluency, and then take action accordingly. So that is how you can use the inline commands very effectively without any distraction. Now, supposing if I'm writing, I'm also wanting to polish the text a little bit more. For example, if I've written this text on my own and I want to make it sound a little bit more academic, or maybe rewrite it, rephrase it, paraphrase it, I can even do that as well. And I'll also take this time to tell you that we have recently improved the entire rewrite feature. So initially, let's say we only had a limited bunch of modes, but right now we have a lot more. You can choose from different modes of paraphrase rewrites. If your intent is to, let's say, maybe change the tone of your input text, maybe you're writing an email or a letter. So in that case, make academic might not be the best one. Maybe in that case, you want to make it sound a little polite or professional. You can go ahead and use it. If I want to reduce the word count of my text, I can now do it with 3 particular modes, such that some degree of granular control is there in the extent of trimming that the AI will do for me. So very quickly, let me show you trimming. For example, let's say I want to reduce the word count, but maybe very less, an approximately 15% reduction. So the AI will understand your text, aim for an approximate 15% reduction. Now I read this output. If I don't like this output, I can try something else in the same view. For example, I just click on moderate. So my previous output that I generated with less stays right there, but a new output with moderate reduction is being generated. Now I read this. If I want to compare, I quickly switch tabs. I can read through. If I'm not happy with, I can go ahead and retry the output over here. When I retry, I will have two outputs being generated under moderate, the previous one and the retried, the regenerated one. I can toggle between the two, see which one suits my requirement the best. If I don't like it, I can go ahead with significant and then choose the best one that I want for my requirement. Now, this can be done for the entire rewrite features so that you can now pick and choose the mode, try out different mode, explore, and then come to the conclusion of what is the thing that you want best. So that's how effectively you can use the inline AI commands in Paperpal while you're writing, while you're polishing your text. Now, there are some cases where you might also want to zoom out a little bit and look at the entire text as a whole. For example, if I am done writing my paper, now I want some critical input on my paper. That might not be limited to maybe a paragraph. Maybe it is on the entire text as a whole. In that case, maybe I'll expand upon the sidebar. I can go to checks over here. For example, I can go to checks. I can click on AI review, in which case the entire text from the document is being read, is being understood, and I can ask specific questions like check the flow. Is my document reading fine? Is the flow all right? Should I be adding any other information? So all of those commands, all of those functionalities I can do at a document level by opening up the sidebar once again and accessing specific features inside Paperpal, such as the AI review feature. If you are polishing your text, let's say your review is done, your writing is done, you're at a stage where you're now polishing your text. I can do that with the edit feature again by opening the sidebar over here. I can read my text on the left side where my main document is. I can review the suggestions one by one and then accept it, reject it, and do the needful. So that is how you can interchangeably use, let's say, the inline AI commands when you are maybe writing, you are polishing in that one consistent flow, or you can use a sidebar when you're looking at the entire document as a whole. And that is exactly how Paperpal can help you when you are just beginning your writing and help you write, ideate, brainstorm, research, find papers, use those papers with Chat PDF to consume those literature faster, extract insights, and even cite those papers with citation feature inside research. So those are the multiple features that you can use in conjunction for Paperpal without having to worry about multiple tools or switching tabs or switching the different context. Now, that said, I'll also touch upon some essential functionalities that we have introduced with the new entire revamped UI. In the new revamped UI, you can now add different kinds of heading. You can change the font style, you can change the font color. Maybe I can use different fonts. Depending upon my document, I can structure it as per different heading levels. I can do all of that with the new interface. If I want to get a bird's eye view of it, I can click on the table of content over here, in which case the expanded table of content will open up and I can jump into specific sections very easily. So no more scrolling using this effectively. What you can also do is you can download the final file either as a Word or as a PDF, and whatever formatting that you have in your document, all of that will be preserved. So that's the new Paperpal's entire interface for you. And yeah, I'm going to take a short pause here for you to consume and then move on to, let's say, Paperpal for Word. And I suppose at this point we would have a poll coming in.
Thanks, Shardul. I think that was great. I think for many of the audience who've been using PayPal for a while, as I can see from your comments and feedback, it would be great if you've already tried it out. If you could let us know what is the next thing on the roadmap that we should be thinking about, something that would help you be more effective using PayPal for your writing tasks. So we have a couple of options in there, and if there's anything else, please specify that in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you, Nulita. All right. I will now move forward to, let's say, the Word experience. So if you're somebody who does a lot of writing, collaborative writing, maybe with Word, and that is your primary place, the primary interface that you use for your writing requirements, you can use Paperpal in Word effectively. So with Paperpal, we have provided a native Word add-in, which provides you with the entire features. Some of the interactions that are specific to web, for example, the text selection, the inline AI commands, the automatic linking of references, those might be missing in Word, but all the other features, all the core functionalities remain as is. And how do you activate or how do you download the Word add-in? Very simple. You can either click on the sidebar on the left, click on Paperpal for Microsoft Word, and then follow the instructions that are provided in the new tab that opens up. Alternatively, if you are using Paperpal in the web version while you are writing, for example, this is the instructions that you will follow from the particular website. Alternatively, if you are using Paperpal in the web version already, you will see that you have an install apps option over here. Now I can install the Word add-in, the Overleaf extension, and the Google Docs add-in all in one place very seamlessly. So once I have downloaded the add-in, another way by you can which also you can actually find Paperpal's Word add-in is via going into Word and then clicking on the add-in feature inside Word and then finding the Paperpal Word add-in and installing it. Now, once that is done, the experience remains exactly the same. You can use all of these features depending upon your requirement. If I'm polishing my text, I go to edit, I review my changes, I review it over here. If I want to paraphrase, I can use the rewrite functionality over here. The ability to switch tabs, all of that still remains the same. For example, if I paraphrase here, I can switch between the other modes very seamlessly so that I can make a comparison and then choose the one that best suits my requirement. The same thing is applies for also research. For example, you have a research question. I can quickly ask a research question, get information about that particular topic, get some literature on that topic. If I want to access chat PDF, I can even do that over here. So that is how Word provides a very good way to actually use the native feature of Word, which is, let's say, the flexibility, the connectedness, and collaborative ability, while also being enabling the PaperPal add-in to function smoothly and seamlessly. And very quickly, going into the other Word add-ins that we launched, other plugins that we launched. For example, if you are somebody who uses Google Docs a lot more for your writing process, so for example, I can use PaperPal's Google Docs add-on over here. So I just have to open my document, and as mentioned earlier, I can install the Google Docs add-on by clicking on the Install Apps button over here and following the instructions. For example, when I click on the Google Docs add-on, you will be taken to the Google Workspace from where you can install the particular Google Docs add-on. And once that is done, you open the Google Docs document, you click on extension, and from extension, you click on PaperPal and then launch. With that, the PaperPal's sidebar would have launched over here. And as you can see, this is something that we had launched just a couple of months ago. So currently, we have the entire edit feature, the rewrite functionality, and the write functionality in Google Docs. The other features, the translate, the research, all of those are going to come in the coming weeks and months. So watch out for that as well. So with PaperPal for Google Docs add-on, we provide a way by which you can seamlessly use Google Docs and still enjoy the benefits of PaperPal inside Google Docs while also using Google Docs' innate ability for collaboration and any other options you have. And moving forward, we also launched an overleaf extension. This is specifically for those who do a lot of writing, let's say in LaTeX. So if you are somebody who uses overleaf a lot and use it for writing, editing your document, especially containing a lot of heavy LaTeX code, so we have launched an overleaf extension for Chrome, which again you can download from the installs app option over here and then follow those instructions. Once you open up the, let's say, install the PaperPal's extension for Overleaf, this is how it will look like. Once you log in using your credentials, you will have the PaperPal icon floating on the sidebar on the right. You can move it up and down if it presents a distraction while you're actually reading. And whenever you need it, let's say I can click it, open it up. What happens in the backend is the entire text that you have on my editor over here, that is read in real time. Because this is something that we launched only just recently last year, we have only provided the edit feature as of now. The other features, similar to Google Docs add-on, will come up very soon. But you can go ahead and use the edit feature in the Overleaf extension to make sure that your language and grammar can be corrected while still maintaining the integrity of the LaTeX code that you have inside Overleaf. So that, in a nutshell, was how PaperPal helps you seamlessly, irrespective of what journey you might be coming in from. So if you're somebody who begins writing, use PaperPal for web for the best experience. Start writing using the preset commands that are provided. Expand on those writing. Use the research feature to find more relevant papers, to find content to read, to consume. Use the chat PDF feature to chat with that paper, extract insights from that paper, add it to your document. And once done, use the rewrite and edit features to polish your document, to refine it further. And then at the final step, use the checks feature over here, use the AI review feature to review your document. And as required, if you are submitting to a journal, you can use the plagiarism check and the journal submission check. With the journal submission check, you can just upload your document. It could be a Word file or a PDF. And I'll just quickly demonstrate that as well. So here I can just upload my Word file and my PDF, and you will get the final processed file in your inbox and also available for download over here. So that is how PaperPal can provide you with end-to-end support holistically throughout your writing process and also provide you support where you are. For example, if you're using Word, Google Docs, or on Overleaf. So that's it from my side for today. And yeah, over to you, Nolita.
Thanks, Shardul, for that excellent demonstration. And I hope all of you in the audience are now confident of getting the most out of your PayPal experience. I think one little Easter egg for our audience there is PayPal is actually now uh, also supporting the mobile web. So if you go to paperpal.com on your mobile phone, you can also log into your account and you could, quickly check for any language or grammar suggestions, rewrite some text, or even use any of the writing prompts very soon. And we plan to give you more support on the mobile as well. So if you're someone who's more comfortable writing on the go over a long commute, do check that out. Before we move on to the Q&A bits, I'd like to post a quick poll. So as I said, we rely on a lot of inputs from our audience in order to really, grow and inform our roadmap. So what we'd like to know is which platform would you like PayPal to support next? I know I saw a bit of latex support in there earlier, and our engineering team will be glad to hear that. But we'd love to know which other platforms you'd like to see PayPal come into. So I'll leave the poll on screen and wait for your input before we move ahead. While you drop in your votes, I'd like to also let the audience know that we have a Chrome extension in the works, and that should be reaching you very soon in a matter of weeks, if not a month. And beyond that, definitely a lot of your inputs would be a guiding factor. With the Chrome extension, you'd be able to use PayPal on web-based email clients, on OneNote if you're using it on the web, or anywhere that you're really writing on the web. So that support is coming very soon. And beyond that, do keep us informed. Okay. Okay, I think we have the responses come in for the poll. I think we can move forward. Awesome, PayPal for desktop. Nice. Great. So I'll just quickly move back to our presentation. So for the audience here today, if you've been liking what Shardul has demonstrated, we have a special offer that you can avail. So here you are. We have that. We have a 30% off with the coupon that you see on screen. And you could use this to sign up to any of the plans that we offer. In addition to that, if you already have a Prime subscription, you can upgrade to the annual plan with the same offer. It will be auto applied on checkout. Additionally, if you're someone who's just comfortable trying out the product, we have a forever free plan where you can just go ahead and try it out for free. Again, your data is secure on all of these plans, whether it's free or paid. The free plan just comes with certain limits on how much you can use it daily. So go on, give it a try, and we look forward to your feedback. Lastly, we'd also love to hear your feedback on today's session before we head into Q&A so that we can make these more relevant and useful to you. The team will share 2 links on chat, a link for feedback, as well as a link to our Discord server where you can continue the conversation with us and share your feedback on the tool or be part of our beta group to test out features that are coming up. With that, I think we'll head on over to our Q&A segment. I think we have quite a few questions lined up. Okay, Shardul, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Let's bring it on.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing screen so you could maybe pop in and share screen for anything. So I think we've got a couple of questions around AI detection concerns. And I'm going to read some of the related questions out and then maybe take it at one go. So some of the questions that are coming in is, it gets detected under AI plagiarism, the whole of the content, how to tackle that. Otherwise, how and why to use it for writing. Please explain. It's an important question. The biggest problem I'm facing right now is how to remove AI from Paperpal written paper. What are the features provided by Paperpal when total content is flagged by Turnitin AI? And what is the use of Paperpal? Does the edited product get detected by AI detectors or originality searches? And PaperPal is flagged AI written by Turnitin. Is it because I'm not using it correctly? And lastly, flag check by using PayPal plagiarism check showing 9% similarity. The same paper submitted to my university shows a 29% similarity. So I'm going to take these answers in a reverse order. The reason I'm taking these together is for a very specific reason. So I think, firstly, there's a lot of misinformation about plagiarism and AI detection being one and the same. So I know that many plagiarism tools like Turnitin today also provide AI detection, and therefore very often we are interpreting these reports as in plagiarism, if I have a threshold like 15%, similarity is acceptable, or 20%, then the same should be for AI detection, and that's definitely not the case. Plagiarism is very, very objective. It looks for similarity between your text and published text out there, and therefore what's important to note is for plagiarism, yes, you would need to look at the percentage of similarity and ensure that you are meeting the requirements of either your institution or the journal that you intend to submit to, whatever that range might be. Some amount of similarity is likely to sort of creep in given very common writing patterns. Now, why would this percentage similarity on Paperpal be different from your university? So on Paperpal, what we use is a Turnitin product called SimCheck, which checks against an internet database. Now, this includes, the whole internet, which is also scraped daily, but it also really covers open access articles that are freely available online, and it checks against those. But when you're checking at your university, it may be using a version of Turnitin that's either Similarity or Authenticate, which also checks against paywalled published papers. Now, this is something, if you have similarity with these published papers that are behind a paywall, then only an Authenticate would flag it up. And that's probably why there's a difference in the percentage. If you'd like to get an Authenticate report, we do offer this as a service on our Editage sister product, Editage website. So you can definitely check that out. Now coming to the big question around AI detection. Now, how do you really solve that? So I think first off, Paperpal is not designed as a tool that is meant to help anyone, especially in the academic space, mask use of AI detection. We do not kind of come out there and say that, hey, we'll be a tool that will help you hide or humanize AI outputs. As Shardul demonstrated earlier, in fact, our latest upgrade to the rewrite modes has been how can we help AI and give you more control over the writing so that it can be more assistive to you. I think very, very often people came back and said, it could only make my writing formal or academic, but it didn't really make it fluent or conversational like how I sound. And that's the intent. We're offering that variety of modes. But the fact is, we just don't want to mask AI as such. Now, how do you really go about ensuring you're using AI responsibly? And that's really what I want to emphasize on. So, number one, don't confuse percentage of plagiarism detection with AI detection percentages. And the next is how do you really interpret or use AI detection reports? So I think number one is first check if you're allowed to use AI in the process of writing. So journals and publishers today definitely permit use of AI to improve writing quality. And you can see these published in their author policies on the website itself. So go to the journal website, look for their AI writing or AI use policy, and you will find the guidelines clearly spelled out. Very often, from our studies of all of these guidelines, they will also provide a disclosure statement or a format in terms of how you can disclose the use of AI. So you can, kind of indicate which tools you've used and what have you really used it for. As I mentioned earlier, we also work with more than 500 journals worldwide, where we help them basically screen manuscripts. And from here as well, what journals and publishers are really looking for is they're looking to see, are there any paper mills out there that are just pushing junk into the publication pipeline? Completely AI written papers that could be misleading, fraudulent, and that's what they're really using AI for. It is not necessarily to say, hey, you should be achieving a certain percentage of AI writing as such. The next thing is, as users of AI, how can we be more responsible when including AI output in our work? Now, here's my recommendation list. So, number one is don't copy the output as is. So, as Shardul showed, you can use AI in PayPal in different ways. You could either have it generated in line or in the sidebar, whatever is your preference. My preference is I generate in the sidebar, and usually what I do is I take the relevant parts of what the AI has suggested, I edit out or discard what doesn't really matter to me, and then I kind of really type it out on my own. Then what's useful sometimes is read it back to yourself, read it out aloud. And if the sentence of the paragraph adequately, represents your voice or your point of view, then you're pretty much in a safe space. That's really important. Is it really conveying your message, your intent? And that's, something that you need to do. Next is, AI can introduce some inadvertent plagiarism into your writing because of similarity with what's out there on the internet. So use plagiarism detectors to spot this, to catch it, and fix it if you need it. So whether a citation needs to be included, whether you need to maybe exclude that or rethink that, but this will help you catch anything that might be introduced inadvertently. And the third most important thing is always verify citations that come in with any AI tool, whether it's Paperpal, ChatGPT, or any, I've seen a lot of AI tools being mentioned in chat. Definitely verify the citations and also verify, whether the citation adequately, supports the statement against which you're including it. I saw a question saying that, can you give me an automated solution to actually insert the citation in the text? Meaning, we are working towards being able to help you just highlight a statement and find papers that could support that from the published literature, and that's in the works. But simply inserting it without having you verify it could really introduce and be very problematic, and that's something that we would definitely avoid. So that's the bit where, the human in the loop really needs to come in. So if you're following these steps, you're pretty much in the safe zone of ensuring that you're using AI to speed up your research, but not really having the AI overstep or introducing any room for, unethical use or incorrect information. Lastly, it's very important that AI to know that AI detectors are flawed, and they could very well flag original text that's written by a human, especially by non-native English speakers, as AI detected. Now, given these limitations, there are several universities worldwide, like Vanderbilt, who advise faculty against just blanket use of AI detection tools. So, if your university is using AI detection, understand what's their policy, understand, what is the intent. Do they have a framework in place for how AI can be used? OpenAI as well had sort of withdrawn their AI detection tool because of low accuracy, and Turnitin themselves will call out the possibility of false positives if you go into their website. So they recommend guidelines for how faculties need to work with these reports. So don't fear AI detection and don't, move away from AI because you're not aware of how this works. Instead, I would recommend engage in a collaborative discussion with either the journal editor and be transparent about how you're really using AI in your work. So that's my recommendation on how you can use AI responsibly and not really look to mask or remove AI from your work. Great. I'm going to hand over the next couple of questions to you, Shardul. So I think the next couple of questions are all around research and citations. So the first question is, what database or databases is PayPal connected to for the research and cite feature? Is it possible to adjust the databases the system searches based on your field?
Understood. That's a good question. So first to clarify the first part of the question, what databases are used and where do these papers come from? So as I mentioned earlier, in the backend, we use a sister product called as R Discovery, which is a giant corpus of more than 250 million plus articles and papers. Now, R Discovery compiles papers from various sources. So for example, all the open access sources like Semantic Scholar, PubMed, OpenAlex, the preprint servers, ARXIV, BioXRIV, and also let's say papers via our partnerships with journals and publishers. So these are the varied sources by which we get these papers. So if a paper is published and out there, there's a 99% likelihood that that particular paper will be there in the database. And you can also easily verify it by, let's say, also maybe just take a moment here to very quickly demonstrate this one feature in research where you can search for a particular paper via its title or its DOI. For example, you have the search paper via its title, keyword, or DOI. So if you want to check the veracity of the database, whether the papers are available, very quickly go ahead and paste the DOI or the title, and that paper will be retrieved for you. So that's how easy it is. And one more thing that I would like to highlight specifically is that because we have multiple corpuses that we use to actually pull the papers from, it is not limited to any one or two of the open access sources. For example, if you use Perplexity or Perplexity primarily uses Semantic Scholar and PubMed as the databases. It's very evident from the references that are being retrieved, as opposed to, let's say, using an AI tool with web search, where you might actually get some inadvertent junk that is present on the web and not necessarily an academic database. So that's the answer to the question. The second part of the question, can I filter based on specific databases? So you can filter based on certain criteria. Example, you can filter by the top Q1 quartile journals. I'll also maybe quickly demonstrate this as well. I'll maybe keep my screen on for this purpose. For example, if you're using research and if you want to filter out certain content, for example, when I'm asking a question, you will find this button over here. I'll also zoom in. This one sets the preferences. So when I click on it, I have the ability to set different kinds of preferences. If I want to get the majority of the responses from open access papers, I can toggle it, switch on open access, go down and set the preferences. I can save those particular preferences over here. Alternatively, if I want only the Q1 quartile journals to be included in my references or in the papers, if I want the AI to only go through the papers from Q1 quartile, I can set that over here. So you can do multiple different things by setting these preferences and then use the AI, the research feature very effectively. Now, one more thing that we have taken care of at our end is that suppose you select open access and you ask a question, but the answer to that question is not there in an open access paper. So in which case, we will show you other references which might be paywalled and not necessarily open access, because the answer exists, but maybe it's not in an open access paper. In that case, maybe you will get the top 5 papers as paywalled articles because those are the ones that are actually answering the question. But the rest of the papers might be open access based on your preferences. So that is taken care of by our end as well. So yeah, that's the answer to the question, Nolita.
Thanks, Shardul. I think there was a related question to that. Is it
Yeah,
possible to limit the references to academic peer-reviewed journal articles only? And I think those filters that Shardul demonstrated back
yeah,
there, I think you could use any of them. You can kind of see the quartile. The quartile is indicative of quality, and usually these are only assigned to published papers. And you could select that and include or exclude what you want. I think related to research is an interesting question. How does the AI determine which papers are top papers and assume are most relevant to my question? So maybe you can take this one before we
yeah,
move on.
yeah. So basically, we have a slightly complicated algorithm working in the backend to ensure that the relevancy is always at the peak. For example, when you ask a question, it understands not just at the keyword level, but also at the semantic level. For example, when I say what is known about climate change, it will not just check for climate change and mental health. It will understand what is the exact context, and then it will run an algorithm in the backend that goes through the entire corpus. First, finds a pool of papers that more or less addresses that question. Then it will use a different forms of ranking and re-ranking processes to refine that further and further, and then find the papers that are the ones that best addresses that particular question. So that's a slightly complicated algorithm that we run in the backend to ensure that the relevance is not just at a keyword level, but also at the entire semantic level.
Thanks, Shardul. And again, even though the answer actually only references the top 5 most relevant papers, as you saw in Shardul's demonstration earlier, we provide all of the papers that are linked back to that semantic relevancy of your question. So you can actually scan through those as well. So you get a much wider set as you're reviewing the literature. Moving on, the next set of questions are around, they are slightly related around, is there a citation tool that can automatically browse online databases for relevant papers and generate accurate citations without requiring manual searching and input? And I think the similar questions, is it possible to add automatic citations to a pre-written manuscript by a human? And how do I identify and highlight references that are not cited, and also the citations for which references are not mentioned? So I think for the first two questions, we are working towards a feature that will help you highlight a statement in your writing and find relevant papers that might be able to support that. But as I mentioned earlier, is you would be required to scan through those, and you will have the convenience of being able to access that paper very easily and see if you'd like to cite it or not, because the veracity and the relevancy of that citation, I think, really needs the human to kind of verify it. And how does it connect back to your narrative? Now, do we really support the ability to highlight references that are not cited? and also citations for which references are not mentioned. So you could definitely try the the submission check service that we have. It will help you scan your references, but this specific feature in terms of whether citations and references are corresponding is something that we're working towards, really building a more cohesive a checker around references and citations. That's great feedback. Moving
So
on to
let
the
me just add one quick
yeah.
input then. So to the question of whether if I give a paper, like will the system automatically find the references and citations and add it at the required location? It's a little bit problematic because when you give an entire paper, there is a lot of context. Maybe it will find 500 different papers addressing each and everything. Maybe for one statement, you will have maybe 10 different papers. So at the end of the day, the AI does not know which of the papers is the best one suited, what is the context in which you had written that particular statement, so what was the objective. So that things the AI is not smart enough. So what you end up with is a list of maybe let's say 500 papers. Now you have to have manually have to read and then come to a conclusion of what to add, not to add. So that's why the always the best thing to do is let's say cite and on the go and read it, find those papers, and then keep on citing on the go while you're writing.
Makes sense. Agreed. Um, Definitely, take it in bite-sized chunks. Okay, I know we're at the end of our time for today, so I'm just going to take one last question, and then we'll address the rest. Maybe over a follow-up email. Can we create an exclusion file for words and phrases that should not be edited by Paperpal because they are essential to the manuscript? Thank you for this feedback, Raymond. And I think I replied to you as well. But for the larger audience who may be encountering this issue, it's something that's work in progress, and we recognize that while PaperPal does understand academic writing and technical terms, there's still more that we can do. And a feature to block edits is something that's work in progress, and we hope to roll it out very soon. I think your feedback is loud and clear. There were also a few comments around, do we offer formatting and formatting templates in the future? Currently, as we saw in the editor, we do support, we have better support on PaperPal for web for formatting, but journal formatting is what I call it next level. And very, very specific and nuanced. So if you are looking for support around that, under the checks you will find our human services, and we have experts that can actually just take your format and ensure it meets journal requirements, whatever that might be. So just send them the guidelines, send them your manuscript, and it will be taken care of. So you can also try that out. Okay, with that, we sort of come to the end of our session today, and I'd like to thank our audience again for joining us and engaging actively. We love to, be here and answer all of your questions and get your inputs and feedback. We look forward to seeing many of you at the next one as well. So good day, good evening, and good night to all of you, and have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you everyone and take care. Bye.